It's about that time. If you're here, you know what it is. It's another episode of the Dojo Show with me, your host, Sensei Marvin. I have an awesome guest to bring in this week. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring
And
in
to let
my
you know
guest for
that
this.
this show is being brought to you by Bushikin Karate St. Cyr Dojo. Voted as one of the best martial arts schools in the Raleigh-Durham area, Bushikin Karate offers an experience unlike any other. Proudly serving most ranging from ages 3 to adult. Stop by today and take advantage of our free 1-week trial. We're located at 3632 Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh, North Carolina. For more information, visit bushikin.com. Bushikin Karate St. Cyr Dojo, pursuing the true meaning of the way.
Please give it up for my boy, Coach Kenny Williams. Hey, Coach.
What's up, Marv? How you
Coach,
doing, man?
I am doing good, man. Thank you so much for taking some time out your busy schedule to chop it up with me. I really and truly appreciate you being here, man. So, how are you doing, first of all, Coach?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Busy. It's good to get this is a nice little change of pace, man. And these guys are keeping me busy, man. So, man,
Absolutely.
good, man. Can't complain. Can't complain, man.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you, but first, how many boxes do you currently have in your stable right now?
Yeah, so in my competitive group that I have, man, right now we got about 36 kids who are either
Ooh,
competing, working towards competition, man, or training as if they were going to compete, man. Out of those, man, I have five pro guys, and right now actively competing on an amateur level, we got about seven of them. Yeah, man. Like I said, they keep me busy,
that's
Marv. Keep
awesome.
me busy, man.
That's
No, keeping
awesome,
me
man.
busy. Yeah.
I mean, you have definitely been. I mean, boxing has been in North Carolina, but you've definitely been one of the people that have spearheaded a major boxing movement here in North Carolina, man. So,
Mhm.
yo, I tip my hat to you, brother. I'm just so
Mhm.
awesomely impressed with what you've done so far and where
Yeah.
you're going, man. I see nothing but greatness in your future.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but so just kind of, I always like to on my show talk about kind of origins, where we came from, the journey, how we got there, and then just kind
Yeah.
of expound and go from there.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about how you got your start in boxing.
Yeah, man. So, my story is a lot like a lot of, other people, man, when it comes to, the whole boxing thing. I was for lack of a better term, a knucklehead, man. So, now being a little bit older, obviously I understand a lot more why I acted out the way that I did. But long story short, man, boxing kind of gave me a platform, man, to channel a lot of the frustration, anger, and traumatic stuff that happened to me earlier, man. Boxing gave me an opportunity to release a lot of that, man. So as a young guy, man, boxing was just that, man, an outlet for me, man. I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut, so that's where my origin started, man. When I actually moved to North Carolina, man, there wasn't a boxing gym here. I
Okay.
started actually,
Were you
yeah,
boxing in Connecticut?
yeah,
You were
man,
boxing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's where I
Okay.
started, man. But once I got here, man, I actually there was a guy from Philly in my neighborhood, man, Jeff Gilchrist, man, that I kind of found, man, and picked up with him for a little while. Again, no competitive gym. There weren't any competitive gyms in North Carolina. I would say Raleigh at the time. That's where I was. So I didn't really pick back up until I got to college, man. I went to North Carolina Central in Durham, and that's where I met Coach Massey. That's kind of where I kind of credit Coach Massey as being my coach and being the guy that kind of got me started with all of the boxing stuff, man. That's it. He's
Awesome.
the one who really kind of taught me about the sweet science and discipline and all of that good stuff, man. So.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, have you done any competitive fighting in your past?
Yes, man. I was an amateur fighter, man. So I
Okay.
honestly, on the grand scheme of things, man, I didn't have a whole lot. I had 16 amateur fights. So on a bigger scale, my to put that in perspective, man, my most seasoned pro guy now, man, had over 100 amateur fights. I picked up a lot there too, man. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of my training is directly from my coach, Coach Willie Massey, man, at Durham. So,
Awesome. Listen,
yeah,
to even get in the ring, I've gotten in the ring a couple of times,
yeah,
just practicing. And it's not an
yeah.
easy task, man. I mean, you think
Nah,
one thing translates exact one for one, and that's not the case. So,
yep,
to
yeah,
get in
man,
there and do it 16 times, and as well as I've known
yes,
people that have jumped right into the pro ranks with no amateur fighting. So, I mean,
which is
to get in
crazy.
there and to do that is I take my hat off to that, because that's not an easy task to do. What led you to want to start teaching? Like, how did we go from actively
Yeah.
training to saying, you know what, I want to go ahead and open up a program?
Yeah, man. So, man, I always tell. So, I actually, man, there was a barber in the barber shop, man, that I used to go to for years, man. I would bring, Kenny in with me, and he was a little guy. I'm talking about, man, my son. I would bring
Right.
him in, man, every Saturday, and while we would wait to get our haircut, man, we would do little things. And there was a barber there, man, for like 2 years, man, 2 or 3 years, man. Every Saturday, man, that I brought Kenny in, the barber would ask, he would say, "Hey, man, you got to train, you got to show me something, you got to train me." Um, at the time, I didn't, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I kind of, man, just kind of blew it off, man. And then he called me one day, man, after like 2 or 3 years of this, man. He calls me one day. He's like, "Hey, man, look, I got my nephew in. My nephew's coming. I don't know him. He called me from Ohio. And I just feel like boxing would be good for him, man. I'm going to need you." So
Wow.
one day after work, Sensei, I went by, right? I went by his house, man, worked with him, and I worked with his nephew, man, and he gave me $40 for doing it. He gave me
Mm,
$40 for doing it, man. And that kind of got the wheels turning, man. That kind of got the wheels turning, man. And then I don't know if the audience knows, man, but within that time, Sensei Marv, a good friend of mine, man. I remember him. At the time, man, Apollo Heights, you were there, kind of doing
yes.
your
Yep.
thing, man. And right in the middle of all of that is when you're like, "Hey, man, look, the city thing, there's something that could work. You can make it happen here." So those
Right.
wheels really started turning all at the same time, man. And,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy
man,
because I
yeah,
remember that journey, man. Like
yeah,
we've got a lot of parallels in terms of where we started, and just me even trying to take you along on that journey with me, right?
yeah,
Like,
man,
I
yeah,
just remember, man, you were working and you were doing the
yeah,
boxing thing, on a small
yep,
scale, and I was like, hey,
yep,
let's try to bring this thing on a larger scale,
yeah,
and
man,
it was
yeah,
an interesting journey, man. Just even going through like the name changes, going and looking at places,
yep,
trying to figure out. And
yep,
I remember the first spot over in Beacon Plaza that you
yep,
ended up going into.
yeah,
And
man,
funny
yeah,
thing is, I looked at a spot I think you were with me when I went to look at a spot here. So that was interesting.
yeah, man,
Um,
yeah, man.
it's funny on my end as well. It's like
Mhm.
I always think about my journey and how I started. And I years ago I had wanted to do a martial arts studio, but this was when I was younger, right? And so I thought that I could do it. I got out, moved to Maryland, realized, yeah, I didn't know a whole lot. And so I threw that out my mind. But how I came about to opening up my studio was I was training at a bunch of different places, and the schedules were not aligning with what I needed, or there was a
Mm.
lack of availability, or the distance. And so I was like, you know what? I've got all these years of training. I can go ahead and just teach. And really and
Yeah,
truly, my
yeah,
motivation for teaching was not to teach. My
yeah,
motivation
man.
to teach was selfish. It was I wanted somebody to train with me. And so
Oh,
that's how
wow.
I ended up starting. I just
Yeah.
wanted somebody. I was like, I can train by myself, but if I have somebody else that I can
Yes.
train with, that'll work out. And so it was me and an adult. I didn't envision where I was going to be today. But
Me
after
neither.
I
Me
started
neither.
training, one person came, then
Yes.
I had two people, then it's like four of us. Then I'm like, okay, well, we need to find a place to train, and then that
Yeah.
just kind of started that journey. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. I did, like you said, Marv. I wouldn't have guessed in a million years this thing was turned into what it did, man. So,
right,
yeah.
right, right. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me ask you this, because my expertise is primarily in karate, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people may or may not know, but you dabbled a little bit in karate with me
Yeah.
because you came on and
Hmm.
you trained with me for a bit.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
honestly, I think it really impressed me that you were like, coming from you, a person that does boxing, your take on I think I was a person that maybe changed your mind a little bit about the
Hmm.
validity
Hmm.
or the authenticity of karate. Um,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
the question that I have, and you can expound on it as much as you want, is as a person who's trained a little bit in karate, what are some of the parallels that you found between training with me, Bushikin Karate, as well as your boxing stuff? Or, what are the similarities or what are your overall impressions of karate?
Yeah. So initially, before you, Marv, karate. Um, there was a dojo right across from where I am now, man. And what I would do, honestly, man, the way that I would, or the way that when they were here, I would put it is like, listen, man, if you're scared to get punched in the face, go across the street and to karate, right? Like you know what I mean. It's that simple, man. If you don't want to get it in, man, then the karate dojo is right across the street.
Right,
Would I where my image of what karate is changed with you is when I went in, man. It was full contact. It wasn't just sitting,
right,
man, breaking boards and what I'm saying, and throwing punches at the air, man. When we,
right,
getting in there, man, you would have these sparring nights, man, just kind of open whatever discipline come through, man.
right,
And we were in
right,
there rocking and rolling, man. It wasn't no pity pat type stuff, man.
right,
So,
right,
that's one, as far as your style of karate. Two, man, I think, man, as far as the parallels are concerned, man, what people don't know about boxing, man, is that there's a lot that actually happens in the ring, man. I mean,
mm,
it is a little bit more straightforward than what karate is, man. But there is a level of discipline. You and I were talking a little bit before I got on, man, just about the art of boxing. Like, I mean, styles, right? So there's a lot of different
right,
styles.
absolutely,
One of the biggest things too, man, just from your particular style of karate, man, is just the footwork, angles.
right,
You and I
right,
would talk about that a little bit. Um, and just, man, I think your style of teaching too, man. I got to give it to you too, man. And there's a level of you want it right, right?
right,
There's a level of man, a focus that goes into the way that you train your guys and your
right,
kids, man. So for me, coming from my background and the way that I was kind of raised and what I do, it was easy to feel at home with you in your dojo and with the things that you do specifically as far as karate is concerned, man.
oh man, well, thank you, man. That's a huge
Yeah,
compliment coming from you, brother. Huge
absolutely,
compliment.
man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man.
So I have a
Hmm.
question for you, and I don't know
Yes,
if
sir.
you've ever thought about it in this regard, but
Hmm.
and it also stems back to a lot of what I teach my kids and my students. Is there kata in boxing?
Uh, well, if you want to, I mean, shadow boxing would probably mirror with the closest thing to kata, right?
Right,
As far as what we do, man. there's a,
I would say
you
there
know,
is. I would say there is kata
it
because
is, it
when I
is.
watch you drill, right? Like you have
Mm-hmm,
combinations that you teach your fighters, right?
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
you may do a cross, hook, uppercut, whatever the combination is, right? Like jab, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, whatever. You may teach them in sets, and I don't know if you have certain
mm-hmm,
um numbers that you call out, like a certain
mm-hmm,
keywords that you may call out for certain combinations. But
mm-hmm.
I would say where for me the parallel is that you're drilling that repetitively over again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you may have you have different combinations, a million different combinations, right? But
yeah,
you do drill those over and over again, and I think that's where for me I draw the parallel between kata and shadow boxing or drills.
yeah.
um
Well, it could. It's well, so I think that's one part of shadow boxing, right?
mhm.
With shadow boxing, man, that's what I mean. There's a lot that's kind of happening, man. It's more than just the combinations, though, right?
Mhm.
So when you're in there, if somebody's shadow boxing is, what to me is the most important thing a fighter does. Like my pro
Right.
guys, when they come in, man, man, we're spending an hour shadow boxing, and because
Absolutely.
we're talking about, man, it's situational, right?
Right.
Even
Right.
where you are in the ring when you're shadow boxing matters, right? So
Right.
that, I mean, there is the just throwing combinations part of it, but there's also, man, the strategic, tactical part
Right.
of it as well. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Situational part of it as well. You know what I mean? So
And that's
it.
where I would say there is again, it's a commonality, because if
Mm-hmm.
you kata,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, kata, if it's done
Hmm.
right, kata is a simulated fighting experience. So
Right. That's what
when
it's
you're
the
doing
same.
kata,
Yep.
it is the application of kata should be what you're going to do in that fighting situation. It's not
And
going to be a one
okay.
to one, right? Because just like in boxing, it's not going to go down the way you practiced it,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
that muscle
Yep.
memory, the angles, the understanding how to move, once you get in that position, now
Yep.
it starts to kick in
Yep.
automatically. It becomes a secondary, not even a secondary thought, but an instinct and a reaction.
Yep.
And I think
Yep.
that's where the parallel draws.
Yep.
There,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
the. I always say so. Do you see those three bars behind there? The three
Yes,
red
sir.
bars behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So I that to me, those three bars represent the three aspects of karate, which is kihon, which is your basics, the
Mm-hmm.
kata, which is the forms, and the fighting, which is the application. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it measures up, lines up perfectly the
Mm-hmm.
drilling, the
Mm-hmm.
practice, the application. Like that is the essence. It's not the complete science of boxing, but it does parallel up. It does match up, to me,
It
when I do the
does.
smell test, when I do it. And that's what made it so seamless for me when I lived in Florida and I
Mm-hmm.
joined a boxing gym. I fell in love with
Mm-hmm.
it because it
Yep.
really felt natural. It felt
Yes.
secondary to me. It was
Yes.
exactly what I was accustomed to doing without the traditional sense of martial arts, of karate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think more to that point, man. And again, that's, I think, your style, your specific style of karate, man, is much different than the karate styles and places that I've been in the
Right.
past. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
Well,
think,
and I'm gonna say, not to cut you off, but I'm gonna
no,
say
no, that's
a
okay.
lot of things get passed off as karate, but it's not karate.
Right,
So,
right.
like the place that was across the street from you was
Yeah.
Taekwondo. It was not karate, it
Interesting.
was Taekwondo. So
Okay.
there, with various styles, there's different things that people emphasize.
Okay.
I think, you know, our style is more geared towards combative hand-to-hand combat,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
like I would tell you, when we would chop it up, there was a lot of parallels because we do a lot of angles. We
Hmm.
do a lot of working multiple different combinations. And that's why when I brought you over to my school, my students absolutely loved it. Like they're like, oh
Hmm.
yes, this is what we need. This is what we love.
Hmm.
because
Mm,
it felt so familiar. You know, it
yeah,
felt so
yeah,
familiar.
yeah, man.
So
Yeah, 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 Marv. I tell you, man, this not to keep talking about June, what you do, Marv, but what I will say, man, is there is, man, your what you bring to the world, man. And it's not only me. Even when I talk to people, man, I think the general, the average person has a thought process of what karate is, man, right? And
right.
when I get them in here, man, and they start talking about karate, man, I always tell them, look, you got to come see my boy Mar. Listen, you gotta go check out. You gotta come check out my boy Mar, man, because he don't play no games they don't play any
Right.
games over there, man. They
Yeah,
get it
we
in.
love it. We
Yeah,
love it. We
yeah,
love it. We love it.
yeah,
So
man.
you have the competitive aspect, the competitive boxing program, which is
Mhm,
great, right? And that's your
mhm,
heart, that's your baby, right? Like much like for me, like kind of how I
mhm,
got into karate was because I wanted, not karate, but how I got into teaching was because I wanted to be able to train.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
could be wrong. I feel like that's your heart, but on the same token, you've developed quite a great program for people that may not necessarily be interested in competitively fighting.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you want to share with us a little bit about what do you have if I'm just the nine
yeah.
to five social worker like I am that wants to just get in shape or just wants to go and do something, like is there something that you provide for the average person that may not want to be a competitive fighter?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. So within Pride, right, within my business, I tell people that I have three businesses in one. There's the obvious competitive side, where I started, and like you said, man, is a baby of mine. But I those the other two spots, man, which is my boxing fitness group and my kids group, are just as important to me, man.
Right,
So we do offer something that's not as I call it savages, right? So it's not as savage, right? We offer what we call a box fit class, and we also just started a women's only class as well, where it is geared towards people coming in. They want to learn a little something. They're tired of just going to the gym and hopping on a treadmill. They want to do
right,
something different, new, get a good sweat, and hit a bag, punch some mitts, and go home and enjoy their day. That's the program that's leading the way at the gym right now. Same
wow,
thing we do.
yeah,
We offer the same thing for kid. All of the kids that come through the door aren't necessarily here to turn into a world champion one day, man. It's same thing, and I'm sure you get quite a bit. We bring them in, and we're working on self-esteem. We're working on the
right,
bully. We're
right.
working on weight loss. So yeah, man, we offer a little bit of everything for everybody, Marv. We do, man.
That is awesome, man. And
Yeah,
I don't, I know for
yeah,
me, it really puts things into perspective when you see somebody that came in and they may not be coordinated, or
yeah, man.
they're overweight or whatever, and then within a matter of months you see a transformation in
Different
them,
person.
right?
Yep, different person.
Physically,
Yeah,
just confidently, they're just walking around. And I don't know about you, but for me, it sometimes it blows me away. And it's like I've been doing this for
yeah.
maybe 12, 13 years now, and it still blows me away to see the transformation. And
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, yeah, Marv, man, listen, man, what I tell people too, man, first things first, man, just to, man, we're in a people business, man. We're in
Right,
a people
right,
business first, man. And really what my job is just do that, just build up people, man. And, when they come in, my job is, even Pride, right? So we talked about the name change. Pride, man, it
right,
is a pride, man. It's a family alliance. So the number one thing that for everybody, I make it a point, man, I know all 100 and whatever members that we have. I know everybody by first name basis, man.
Right, right,
But I
right,
bring all that up to say, man, to the point, man. I understand that I am in the people business, man. People pay me
right,
so they could be better.
right,
And watching people come in, set these goals, man, and hit them, man, is the reason why I do what it is I do. The boxing and all of that stuff is good. Don't get me wrong. Even with my competitive group, man, my
right,
competitive group, the chances of these guys becoming world champions and all of that, it's like making it to the NBA. My pro
right,
guys right now, man, they all, I would consider them the cream of the crop, definitely where we are, right? But on a bigger scale, man, it is a tall feat, man. But where I rest at, man, and what matters to me is that they're better people when they leave here, man. So watching them,
wow, yes,
most of my
yes,
my kids, man, most of them I've had since they were babies, man.
right,
Just
right,
seeing the men that they are now, man, is that's what does it for me the most, man. So
right, right.
yeah.
It's funny you said that because my first episode that I did, and it's only been a couple of weeks, but my first episode was how to find the right like location or the right whatever. It was talking about dojos, but really could be applied to everything. And one of the things
Mhm.
that I said was like kind of looking at pictures or looking, talking to parents. Like so those are two different things that I said. And the overall theme around that was looking to see how long people are in the program, right? Like because you and I have both been a part of other programs where people come through, it's a revolving door. It's a revolving door. But you said something that was just resonated with me. And that
Mhm.
was that you know, you've seen these kids grow from boys to men or women, young ladies to women. And
Mhm.
like that's one of the things that I think is very important when you're looking for a good program is how long have these people been in this program? Are you running a program where people are cycling in and out every 2 or 3 months, or are these people staying with you for 2 to 3 years? Because to
Yeah.
me, that
Yep.
speaks to the level of person that you are. That speaks to the level of your program. That speaks to the
Yeah.
the content because people are not going to continuously pay for something that they don't find value in.
Yeah.
So,
No.
it's not really a question, but I'm just tipping my hat off to you because what you
That's
said kind
good.
of resonated with what I was saying. And I feel like, okay, then that's definitely, even though it's my opinion, it's something that it's not just my opinion, it's something that other people hold in that same vein.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, man. Yeah, mom. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We man. Listen, man. Like I said, we'll keep going back to you, Marv. Man, this is we got to give you, man. It's been amazing the work that you've been able to do for as long as you've been able to do it as well, man. I've seen
Yeah, man.
a lot of fruit from what you do, man. So it says a lot, man. That
It's
applies to
funny
you, brother.
because
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
funny because when I started my dojo, I was like, man, nobody's interested in karate because the hot thing was jujitsu and everything else. And it's like, this is archaic and you got to put on a uniform. But lo and behold, man, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. Um,
Mhm.
so one of the things that you had said earlier in the interview was you were talking about just it's not just punching and kicking, right? No, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
kicking. You're not kicking. You're boxing. It's not just
Mhm.
punching, right? It's the angles. It's all this and that. And I was thinking back to one time we had at the gym that I worked at and that I managed.
Mhm.
We had a pro card come. Floyd came and he was fighting Mayweather, and
Mhm.
we had to put the ring up and everything. And I got a chance to sit front row and watch Floyd and
Mhm.
I will say, like, watching boxing on TV versus watching boxing live is two different things because
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
really take for granted somebody like a Floyd Mayweather who has impeccable footwork and impeccable timing. And it really, while it's a phenomenal thing to see on the TV, it's another thing in person to see it in person. And so my question to you, man, is how important is that footwork and you know like how much do you stress on footwork? Because like you see like your people like
Mhm.
you know, I'm not gonna call the YouTube guy out, but you know, he
Oh
goes
yeah,
in there and
yeah, man.
he's a strong guy. He's a strong guy. I
Yeah,
can't take it away from him, right?
yeah,
But you know, seeing somebody that really has that natural footwork that looks a lot more graceful, and he's getting better, you know. But
yeah,
what
yeah,
is what
yeah.
to you? What are your thoughts on that? Like,
Yeah, man. So
well,
for me, yeah, man, for me, it is, man, it's the foundation, right? So that when people first come in, man, and start training with me, that's exactly. I always let them know, man. Listen, your feet are gonna be more important than your hands are.
mm,
Now, what I
mm,
will say is, I mean, this is like I tell people, man, boxing is, man, this is like a burger, man. It's like a burger, right? So,
mm-hmm,
you know, if you go to McDonald's and Burger King, man, they both serve burgers, man. But the way
right,
McDonald's make their burger is a little bit different than the way Burger King makes
Burger
theirs,
King, right,
man. But they're
right,
burgers,
right,
right? So to
right,
me, personally, man, your feet are the foundation of what it is you
absolutely,
do. So if your feet aren't, man, where we need them to be, then everything else is like any other foundation. The foundation of a house,
right, right,
of trying to start a business, you know what I mean. Where you start on your job, it matters. Um, so you know, and I think what you see with Floyd too. So if you're talking specifically about Floyd, man, you know, you got to take into consideration. Floyd was, as soon as he came out the womb, man,
right,
he was,
right,
you know. So what you see there, man, is, man, years and years. What you saw was the end result of a lifetime
right,
of
right.
man, working at a very, very, very high level, man. You know,
Level, right,
so
right. And considering his father and his
exactly.
uncle were professional fighters,
Man,
and
come on, man.
they weren't slouches
Come
either.
on. Nah, man, nah. You talking about boxing royalty, man. So,
Right,
um, you know, you know, man, so when you look at a guy like that, I mean, you know, obviously, man, top of the food chain, man. And for me personally, like I said, you know, the feet are the foundation of what we do. Some trainers, you know, train a little different, think a little different. But for me,
right.
it has to start with the feet. Yeah.
Which is crazy because that's the same exact message that I give to my students. Is like
Yeah.
you have to have foundation. Like
Yeah, man.
everything starts from the ground up. If you don't have a strong foundation, you don't have anything.
Yeah,
So
man.
like it's just man, that takes my hat off. At least I know I'm doing the right thing. I'm following
Yo,
what I
no,
need
you
to do,
want it,
coach.
man. You want it, man. You want it, Marv. You want it, man. You want it,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
So yeah, I hear the boxes in the background rolling in, so I know you got a session
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, man.
You
Yeah,
got
we about to get going, man. I got this is you know, my guy Pop, Javon Woodard, man. He's probably the closest one to getting there than all of them I got, man.
right, right.
Fighting on the 22nd down there in Myrtle Beach, man. So
Awesome, awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
man, getting
Okay,
ready for
okay.
that. Yes, sir.
Well, shout out to Pop. Shout out to Pop. Go ahead and get that
Mhm.
work in, man.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Listen, I don't want to keep you too much because I know you got a lot of things to do. But if
Mhm.
my listeners, viewers want to find you, how can they find you? How can they find out more information about Pride Boxing?
Yeah, so you could go to man, my IG is really active, man. You could go to Pride Box Fit on IG or even my personal page, K underscore press 42. So either one, man, that
Okay.
we got. If you want to see how we work, what we do, you know, class time schedules, you could go there or go to our website, www.prideboxingfitness.com. Either
All
one.
right.
Mhm.
Well, Coach, man, thank you so much, man, for spending some time with me. I'd love to kick it again with you sometime, man. We could definitely chop it up again if you got some more time. Let me know.
Absolutely,
Let me
man.
know when you got something coming up. I know you do shows. You just had a
Yep.
pretty successful show, and
Yep.
it's so funny because every time I try to say I'm gonna come out there and support,
Yeah.
I have something that coincides. Like our schedules, like when I say we parallel, we really parallel. Like every time you're doing something, it's like I got a
Yeah,
karate
man.
something the same day.
Yeah.
But I'm trying
That's
to
all.
get
We're
out
gonna
there,
make it
man, to you.
happen. Yeah, we're gonna make it
Yeah,
happen,
I'm trying to
Mark. We're
get
gonna
out there
make
to the
it
next
happen.
show, man.
Yes,
Listen,
sir. We're
brother,
gonna make
love
it
you, man. I
happen.
appreciate you. Thank you
All right,
so
bro.
much for joining, and we're gonna chop it up again soon.
Yes, sir.
All right,
All right, Mark.
Coach Kenny, y'all.
All right, bro.